Hi, welcome back to another Brick Veteran kit overview episode. Today we're going to talk about the M1A2 Abrams main battle tank for the United States. Typically when I talk about tanks as opposed to airplanes, I don't start with the nose and work my way back. I start with the wheel spacing, and if I'm going to add any functionality, which is working suspension, which so far with Brick Veteran, every tank I've done has had working suspension. And yeah, wheel spacing is where I start off, getting all the wheels as accurately spaced as I can possibly get it, and then I work my way up from there. And I think also in every single Brick Veteran model I've had the gearbox or gear mechanism that you can spin where the pintle would be located on the tank in the back. I include a gear where you can rotate the turret all the way around. And that was really complex. That was really difficult. Usually the other tanks I'm able to use the Lego gearbox piece, which is super nice. You can just put all the gears in there as a sub-assembly and just kind of plug it in. There's not a lot of space internally, having the Abrams being so squatty and having all the working suspension and the wide tracks eat up a lot of that internal space. So got really creative there, and I didn't want to surrender, throw my hands up and surrender with that one. I wanted to incorporate the working turret mechanism just to be consistent with everything I've done in the past tank-wise. And it worked out. I'm pretty pleased with how that aspect turned out. The sloping is something I also wanted to improve over my other Abrams designs in the past. There's always such a subtle slope that you just really couldn't ever build in Lego before there were these 2x2 triangle pieces and some other 45-degree facet tiles that meet up real nice and seamless, or near seamless, and create that subtle sloping on the front of the tank and on the sides of the tank before it gets more flat back here. So originally I built the M1A1, which is in the background here, an all tan version, which has always been difficult to find a slope area here, or a good slope for that, because of the rarity of some of those shallow sloped pieces. So we went a different route and used these 1x2 by 3 inverted slopes, and that's able to create a nice printable surface for brick designers, as well as a studless design here where the turret might otherwise want to get hung up as you're rotating it, because the clearances on the Abrams tank are nil. The turret just barely clears the back end of the tank here. And the next difficult part in designing any tank is the turret. That's where all the character is the turret. I typically end with the turret for the design process. Like I said, airplanes I work nose back, tanks I work ground up. So with the turret being the last thing, some really shallow angles as well that I've never been able to incorporate. And I don't even know if you can tell on camera, but you can tell in person if you buy the kit. But it's really shallow slope here. It might not even be a plate worth of slope from here down to here. And then building a lopsided turret, which was also something I was never able to incorporate, or I just didn't feel like it was worth representing. The fact that it is offset, this is closer to a 45-degree angle, and this is a bit more shallow. Typically I've just gone the shallow route, but they are different. If you look at top-down pictures of the Abrams tank, it's the easiest way to tell that the shaping is different on both sides. And even I noticed the sloping on either sides going up is a bit different as well. So I was able to incorporate all the proper sloping as much as I could tell and figure into the turret. And I'm really pleased with how the turret design came out, as well as building a NATO camouflage. Now we finally got a lot more dark green pieces to work with, which we never really had before. I know these 1x2 tiles were really expensive for a long time, and now finally Lego's produced enough of them where we can start using 1x2 tiles again. So a lot of those color changes that really made this kit work out. It's all the colors are there, whereas tan vehicles, it's hard. Sometimes you have to supplement with dark tan. And now Lego has these wedges here in the kit that we put them in dark tan. Now they come in light tan, so you can upgrade your model. I went pretty ham with the roller skates in this design. I started off just with a little vent here. It's just a small feature that is typically omitted by me, but I was finally able to incorporate that. I think it just gives that perfect shape, just that small illustration there. And then on the back of the tank, the grill for the exhaust on the engine is different in the middle here, so I was able to illustrate stacking a bunch of roller skates, one on top of the other, to illustrate that better. And since I'm back here, I did build some of the turbine engine. That's pretty much all you see anyways when you open up the back of the tank, but in real life you could rotate the turret to one side and remove a couple panels and the whole engine just sort of lifts out. But with having the turret mechanism in there, I wasn't able to make a removable engine, but I was able to build an engine with nice thin grill bricks to illustrate that small mesh that's there versus 1x2 grill tiles. So there's a lot of fine detailing done in this tank, more than I've ever been able to incorporate in an Abrams tank or any other Brick Veteran tank, I think. Tyler and David, our test builders, helped a lot with this model, incorporating some of those other fine details. Before I built the taillights here, I had recessed the stud and built it a little bit differently, but then it was noted that, well, there is actually sort of an access plate up here, so we can keep the studs there, and that helped bump it up and put it in the right place, so that was a good addition by the test builders, as well as adding these red taillights, just a little piece of flex tubing that was cut and put in there. I think adds in great detail, otherwise it just would have been a hole in there, nothing cool to look at. Great printing by Brick designers all around. Another addition made by the test builders was the ammo rack, which is exposed on the top of the tank. We were able to stick some candlestick pieces in there that come in flat silver to illustrate at least 5 of the additional rounds that would be in the model here. And in the real tank, these panels would explode out if the tank was ever hit there by an incoming enemy round, and the ammo storage is separate from the rest of the crew, so it would explode up and out instead of harming the crew. This is a Crow's system that is a new design for me. It includes a Brick Tactical M2 HB, as well as a few other additional printed parts. And whereas the M1A1 just has an M2 HB here for the commander, this is something that could be remote operated inside of the turret by the commander. I think that's about all I have to go over, other than the fact that it is squishy, independent suspension. And it rolls nice and smooth. At least on one side it does. There's a lot of things I did internally, because anytime you build skirts on a tank, it's hard to squish a track in there and have it roll smooth. So I made some adaptations underneath here to help work the track around as well as I could to achieve the smoothest roll possible. And we do have a Tusk add-on pack, which is included in the kit for a limited time. That's the Tactical Urban Survival Kit, I believe is what Tusk stands for. So a lot of printed 1x1 tiles included in that by Brick designers, and a couple other improvements made for crew survival on top, as well as another M2 HB mounted on the top of the gun that's included in the pack. I think that about sums up everything I have to say about the M1A2. That is the modern version in NATO camouflage. Check out brickveteran.com for more information. Remember to follow us on Instagram and right here on YouTube. Thank you.